So for a while now, I've been quite obsessed with using only but the base game with building and gameplay that my obsession has grown even more where I felt like it was time to actually build and make my own save file only in Newcrest with only using but the base game. And so today I thought it'd be really fun to actually build a base game only mansion with 3 Sims in mind: Iris, Billy, and Stacy Jones, who so happen to be the descendants of Elton Jones, who was the mayor of Newcrest. And I want to share more of their story in this build because you all know, if you don't know, I love storytelling, I love Sims gameplay and family gameplay with a little teensy ounce of drama to kind of make it more fun for me and hopefully for you. But let's see what this house has to offer. Now, personally, I really don't like building big homes at all in The Sims because I find them quite overwhelming, but also I like the challenge of doing something that I am scared of doing and haven't really done before or haven't done often. Now, when I was trying to figure out an idea for the house on this general lot, I came across an article on the Atlantic.com, and the article website, or the article that I read, was literally called "Why Are American Houses So Big?" Now, personally, in America, houses are getting bigger and bigger and bigger every single year, and they're getting more expensive, and hence not a lot of people can actually afford them or really have the means to furnish the entire thing without spending a fortune. Now, honestly, for the mayor of Newcrest, he is very rich, or he was very rich after he, seemingly passed a couple, some years ago from old age. And over time, he had a daughter named Iris Jones, who is pretty much not really the nicest person to begin with. Like, you don't want to get on her bad side. She's very mean, very, obnoxious, very self-absorbed, always in her own head, and thinks she's better than everyone else because she's rich. And she was the mayor's daughter and had all this fame and all this money and all these fake friends that she thought were her friends, but actually weren't. And so over time, over the past couple of years, like 16 years or so, Iris had the sole idea that she was going to make Newcrest her dream, place to live. But in her father's eyes, he had the idea that he wanted to turn Newcrest into a welcoming, lovely, family-friendly place where people can live, vacation, enjoy themselves, make new friends, see the sights, and kind of understand what the true meaning of family is. Now, he was a family man. He has always been a family man. Ever since his wife passed away, before he did, he was trying to find a happy medium between making sure the community was thriving in money, agriculture, like some other buildings, like the general vibe he wanted to bring was happy and positive and exciting and joyful, where the next generation can really make it much, much better. And that's what he was hoping Iris would do, but Iris is not really the best person. So when she came across this lovely, lovely person named Frederick Smith, let's go with the last name Smith right now. I haven't made him just yet. I'm kind of thinking on the fly with his last name right now. So Frederick Smith was a lovely Sim who came across town 16 years ago. And, him and Iris hit it off for a while. He was like a newcomer. He didn't live in the town, but he was visiting. And he actually stayed in the rental property that was literally right next door to this house. And so happenly, Iris actually owns that rental property. And so she rents it out to people who are coming to Newcrest and wanting to get away from the hustle and bustle of wherever they live and kind of understand what Newcrest is all about. So when Frederick and Iris kind of got together, Iris introducing Frederick, the home, what it was like, what Newcrest is all about, the sights to see, the people to hang out with, the people to kind of understand who is who and what they do and where they live. Now, lo and behold, Frederick had very good intentions, of course. He's a very good, kind, somewhat interesting person to begin with. Now, Frederick, he came from San Myshuno, and San Myshuno, as you know, is a very hustle and bustle and busy city, and he lived actually in the fashion district where he was pretty much like the head honcho. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. He was just somebody that was really well known in the city of becoming a fashion designer or a stylish influencer, I would say. And he's made a lot of money, a lot of friends, a lot of recognition in the city, but not outside of the city. So when he came to Newcrest to find some inspiration, he didn't really think no one would know him. Actually, no one knew him at all. And so Iris kind of suspected that she knew him, but didn't really want to show oh my gosh, it's Frederick Smith. Oh my gosh, you're so famous. You're so cool. Because Iris actually enjoyed, Frederick's designs and his clothing and his fashion and everything. And he was like really, really like popular back in like the early, 90s. And the 90s fashion was a choice that we choose to acknowledge but not, relive all over again. If you know what I mean, because the 90s were a time for fashion, especially the early 2000s. But regardless, Iris and Frederick really got together. They became friends over the years, and actually, they didn't get married, but they had 2 kids together. And Frederick kind of left Iris high and dry, but was very supportive. And Iris like was okay with it. She didn't really care. She was like, I'm an independent woman. I'll do what I want. I can take care of these kids all by myself. And she did. And she's actually a great mom, but she's like an awful like human being when it comes to other people besides her immediate family. So when she got pregnant by Frederick, she didn't really like care for him that much when it came to the children being born. She was like, you pay me this amount of money, I will keep you in the kids' life as long as they are all comfortable with it, and as long as you are making enough money to support their lifestyle and their income and what's gonna be in the future. Because eventually down the line, they're gonna have a trust fund that Iris is gonna set up over time when they become, I think, about 5 years old. I mean, as of right now, they are 10 years old. They are both twins. And I'm just kind of leading up to their 10 years of age with their story. But basically, Iris set a trust fund up when they were like 5 years old at the very young age, not knowing what was going to happen with her father. And so when basically Elton kind of passed away from old age, he was like 89 days old, or 89 years old, but 89 days old in The Sims. He kind of left a lot of money to Iris. He left his home, his rental properties. He also left, I think, there is one other property that I cannot remember. I think he owns the library, or well, it's not technically the library anymore. I switched my idea from a library to like a community pool, but technically he owns the park. So he owned the park, he owned the rental property that's next door, and this house, and of course, the whole mayor of Newcrest, the status. So when he passed away, he kind of put all that to Iris to handle. And Iris did a good job like handling, the park and the rental property, but not the actual state of Newcrest. So going forward, like about 3 years now, when the kids are like 8 years old and Iris is like getting older and Frederick is like no longer, around anymore, Frederick kind of basically changed his name, moved to a different city, to Salvadorada, and he decided to kind of cut ties with literally everything about Newcrest. And he sold his apartment. He made a lot of money. He decided to design stuff for the Sims and visitors of Salvadorada. He kind of changed a few things around in the local area, but still kept it very historical. And so when the kids were 8 years old, they have developed a lot of different things when it comes to, music and, science and other different things. And so I would say about 1 year later, with the 2 kids, Billy was the bright young child that he is and still is. He was 9 years old when his father came back to visit for their 9th birthday. Now, this child had the audacity to not only ask for a science set, which in the game is very flammable and deadly. It's not a very good object to have in base game for children, especially at a very young age. Now, when Frederick kind of introduced Billy the science set, he was like, oh my gosh, Dad, thank you so much. I love it so much. It's wonderful. And honestly, I was a little bit skeptical at first when Frederick got, Billy the science set, because I knew how dangerous it was. And of course, Billy, he loved science. He was like wanting to become a scientist one day. And I want to be able to explore that with him one day eventually, because it comes with a get to work with the scientist career, or he wants to become a doctor. We really haven't figured out which one he wants to really do. It's like playing field. Go with what you want. Go with your heart. And basically what happened is that they were living in this house specifically when Frederick got Billy the playset. And it was upstairs in his bedroom, and his bedroom is quite lovely, quite fancy. Not really the best it was back then, because lo and behold, Billy was like, hey, Dad, look at this. And then Billy set his entire room on fire, which scorched his bedroom, a little bit of the hallway, and a little bit of Stacy's room as well. So when the fire happened, the fire department came over, extinguished the entire fire and all the flames. But there was one Sim that did not make it out alive, and that was Frederick. Frederick didn't live long to really see the light of day after that fact. Billy was fine. He was traumatized, but he was fine afterwards. A little bit burnt on his leg, but it's okay. Fires happen. But, traumatized because he thought he killed his father, and he did by accident. It wasn't his fault, but it was his fault, but you know what I mean. So Billy was traumatized by all of that, and he still blames himself for what happened that day. And so after a year later, Iris was like, you know what? We need a little bit more discipline. We need a little bit more structure and control in this house. And so one thing led to another. Iris was like, Billy, Stacy, I will let you decorate your room however you want, as long as you don't really take it downstairs, because she doesn't want her reputation, her status, her fame, her money to really go down the toilet bowl and basically kind of ruin their family's, name. And so Billy is a little bit more careful. He still has his science set because his mom bought him a new one, but kept very strict guidelines of what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And he has friends, he has mentors now that is, teaching him. His mental skill, which I think is the one that builds your, for the science thing. His mental skill is actually pretty better than it was before, because he was at level 0 with this whole science thing, mental skill. But now he's like at level 7. So he's doing a little better. He's trying to work on building his potions and understand the idea of like how to make these potions and when to make them. What are they good for? Can he use them in a local science project, or can he use them for some type of science fair? I don't know. He wants to definitely go above and beyond when it comes to science and medical things. So he's either going to become a doctor or a scientist. I really do not know. But whenever you download the save file and you have Get to Work, you all can decide what he is going to be. But the way I'm going to play him, I'm still contemplating which one I want him to be, because I really just do not know. But anyway, I really, really love this family, even though they're very toxic, mainly Iris. I cannot wait to play with them when they are fully fledged. I'm still in the process, though, of customizing all the Sims that I'm going to put into the world and also the homes to make sure their skills are correct based on their story, make sure their aspiration at a certain level, and their aspiration and their relationships. I'm trying to make everything customized to the T, where it feels like it's a customized world, but you can continue on after the fact. And I showed a little snippet online on Twitter of what my save file looks so far. And at this time of recording, I am basically done building the park. And all I have left is building the last part of the house that I'm going to build, which is right next door to the park. And I will be sharing a little bit more in depth with all the houses and all the Sims a little bit more when I do an overview video. But there are some builds that I haven't recorded, or I have recorded, but I think pretty much 99% of the entire save file you all have seen in a video, or you haven't seen yet. There are, I think, maybe 1 or 2 builds that you haven't seen in a video because I haven't released them yet. But pretty much 99% I have built. And I think I should probably make a playlist of all the houses that I built in the save file, so you can watch back of how I built them and what I did and my idea. And I feel like I had a story, but I didn't really have one. So you'll kind of get a bits and pieces of everything. But it's going to be worth it. Trust me, it's going to be really, really worth it. I'm really, really excited for you all to see it. But I remember when I was building this house on stream, because I was kind of contemplating, what did I want to do for the upstairs? Because furnishing is not my strongest suit of any kind. And Billy's room is very, just there. It used to have carpet and hardwood under there, but now the flooring is legit cardboard. He has cardboard, corkboard type flooring now, and that's all he really gets. And he was like, oh, I'm okay with it. But as for Stacy's room, and I named it, named her after Stacy's mom, the song. Love that song. Wonderful song. But for Stacy's room, I wanted to keep it something very simple and very classy, but keeping her interests in mind. Like, she loves painting, she loves music, she loves exploring the world. She has friends in different places, like a bunch of pen pals. And I remember that when I was trying to build her room, I was thinking, how was I going to make each room, or her layout of her room, which is a legit square, make it her own? So I added, like, a drawing tablet. I also put in some type of like bunny guitar, an easel, stuff like that to kind of keep it in the same whole like family. Now, as long as I'm using only base game, I didn't really have a lot of like objects that I could really use to really make it fully customized, but I think the simpler the better. And I kind of like what I did, and hopefully when I kind of play with the family a little bit more, their build will come to life, which is what I'm looking for. And hopefully you all play with them, but you will see a creative sim of the Joneses family very, very soon when I get to that point. But regardless, I want to show you the house in real time because I did cut out a few things that you all didn't see, but especially I just want to show you, like, everything that it has to offer without showing too much, but show you the whole thing, if you know what I mean. But anyway, let's go ahead and check out the house in game. So I have to say, for this house, I really had a lot of fun building it just because it was base game, but I also used items that I probably would have never used in the game. Like this column, I've never used it before, and this game's like 8 years old. So the first time, it actually worked for a house that I was trying to build on this specific lot and make it also completely base game. But I wanted to add in my own like touch of a flair. I was using debug, so I added in like some telephone poles that are not usable whatsoever. But I also wanted to add in some planter boxes and some plants and some lounge chairs in the front yard instead of the backyard. Because sometimes when I watch movies that have like mansions in them, most of the time what I see is that they end up having their gardening in the front to kind of show the neighbors that they actually, do manual labor sometimes. But they also want to relax and read a book, and sometimes they want to read The End is Fear. And this book actually kind of works very well for this house and the story that I told you of Frederick dying in this home in a fire, which was not, the best moment at all, but it kind of worked. But I also wanted to add in some astronaut space themed. So I added in a astronaut trophy or a statue and a telescope here in the front yard and also on the second floor in the balcony. Because Billy, who just loves science and loves space, that could change tomorrow, I wanted to give him two options where he wanted to look at the stars, either on the top floor or the bottom floor. Just kind of change of angle and change of space, and, give him some good value of like, if you actually want to do this for a living one day. But again, these things can be very deadly if you're not very careful. But as for the interior, I really didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I'm actually kind of happy that I did build all this on stream because you all gave me so many suggestions on what to do for the dining room, the kitchen, the office, the living room, all the upstairs. So getting your feedback helped me so much. And I think if I never streamed anything of my builds, I think I would have been very confused and overwhelmed and everything would look completely different. So getting everyone else's feedback helped me a lot. But I really love the dining room. I love the kitchen. They have a double stove because that's how rich they are. Someone's rich when they have a double stove. And of course, the appliances are very minimal because I wanted to give your Sims enough counter space so they can cook together. Because that was an interaction that we got with cottage living that I thought, hey, different spaces for cooking together, because maybe one day Iris will cook with her kids. But honestly, she won't do that because she does not cook. She hates cooking. She hires someone to do that for her, or she orders takeout. Either way, she's not cooking a single thing. But I wanted to add in a little office for Iris down over here. I also added in some little prints that I thought were really cool. And also, since, little Miss Stacy loves painting, I added in this artist supply booth here for her for whatever reason, for decoration. And then, of course, the middle area before you go to the backyard and the living room. Now, when I was building this house, I was kind of replicating it based on the Pancakes house a little bit. Bob and Eliza Pancakes, their house is kind of somewhat similar to this. The living room seems very similar to their house. And also this over here and this right here. But everything else, I think it's very, my own. But the Pancakes layout was a perfect layout to replicate to a somewhat liking for this home. Now, for the upstairs, I really didn't know what to do at all. Again, Furnishing is not my expertise. I love landscaping and exterior design, but interior design, can't help you with that. So for the hallway area, again, I want to keep it very simple and easy. Plus, you know, there was a fire here, so you didn't really have a lot of money or furniture to really do a lot of things in here. But this is Billy's bedroom, and I did say he has a cork chip, you know, floorboard on his bedroom, his science set, and then of course his bed and some little knick-knack clutter paddywhacks. And he has a guitar leveling 1 book and also a charisma book. But this guitar book is actually for Stacy that he stole for whatever reason, and I do not know why. I think because when he was listening to Stacy play on her little violin, he did not like the whole idea of her being a musician at all. So he just kind of took her things without her asking. And I realized that there is literally no door to her bedroom. Well then, I didn't realize it until now. Either way, we have Stacy's bedroom in here with her freezer bunny guitar, and of course her violin and easel, and just like some other posters that she has here from her little pen pals from different cities and places that she wants to go to one day. Now, as for Iris's room, it's very simple and like just plain Jane, but we just have her queen quarters is how I would put it, along with her master bathroom, which I think it looks pretty cute. And I think I outdid myself with this bathroom because bathrooms are just not my favorite thing to do at all in The Sims because it's a bathroom. You don't do much in there. You just go in and you get out and that's it. But I kind of like the bathroom here with the bedroom and the other bathroom over here. So it's technically like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, and it kind of works. But for the backyard though, I think it is very simple again with the idea of like keeping it very family centric and just kind of like exciting, but personalized at the same time. So I wanted to add in like a little side pool with some lounge chairs, a little sand pit with a little monkey bar, and of course your lovely gazebo with some seating, because eventually one of these days your sim will grill and they'll be able to have a place to sit instead of the inside. But I wanted to put this grill attached with these counters because I've done them before, and so you all know the grill is functional. I've tested it out before, but it does work. But I kind of like how I customized it a little bit better, so your Sims could probably cook on here and then grill, or, you know, grill and then put it on here. But yeah, that is the home. I hope you all enjoyed it though. I hope you all liked the house that I built today. If you all want to download it, it is on the gallery under my origin ID, which is SpringSims, or the hashtag SpringSims. But regardless, I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below. As always, have you ever built a base game mansion or have built a mansion in general in The Sims 4? If you have, let me know. If you haven't, why not? But either way, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!